All right, just give us a second. All right, what's going on, guys? It's your good old boy JR coming to you live from Las Vegas, Nevada. As always, it is Tuesday. The Raiders season is upon us, which means every Tuesday I will be getting on here on Instagram Live at All Sports Talk Podcast and also on the YouTube page, Jack's Wild Sports Show, to discuss the Raiders season, recapping the previous games, to looking forward ahead, and everything in between. So, as always, welcome, 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 welcome. So to start off, the Raiders have now fallen to 1-1 after the loss to the Buffalo Bills on Sunday, and this was a game where, as you can tell, the Buffalo Bills are here. We are still here. We are trying to get to where Buffalo is at. It is a good lesson, especially for a young team like this Raiders team, like the rookies, to get something going, to get some experience, and to know that, hey, if we want to be good, this is what it's going to take to be good, to be consistently good. A lot of stuff happened, so let's just recap it all. So obviously the Raiders went into Buffalo. They played the Bills. They ended up losing 38-10. And after the first drive, you could just kind of feel, like, hey, maybe they finally got something going. But once that interception off the halfback screen happened, that was the end of that. The Buffalo Bills just kept pouring it on us, and there was no turning back. So kudos to the Buffalo Bills for their victory on Sunday. So our three up. What we like to do is discuss our three ups and our three downs on what happened, and I always like to get the negativity first. So let's start with the bad stuff first. The first down that was so bad. That run blocking is not effective whatsoever, and it has its hit and misses. It could be the fact that Josh Jacobs is still a little rusty. But also when you look at it, Zamir White, when he did his thing, he looked like the fresher running back. Josh Jacobs, again, ineffective in the run game. Passing game, he did his thing other than that one interception that Matt Milano did, which was incredible athleticism on his part, where he mussed Josh Jacobs in a way. But that run blocking is just not good. It has to get better for Josh. And I don't know if maybe he's just rusty. Obviously, missing training camp. He's gonna have to get his feet under him. And after 28 carries, he's gonna get something eventually. But it has to be soon because we have another tough game this Sunday that's coming up. My second down that I would like to discuss about that was just god bad. It's just no push in the middle from those defensive tackles. None. Clearly what you saw in Buffalo on Monday night was not the Buffalo that we were going to see on Sunday. And it just shows, again, the building that the Raiders are trying to do defensively. Up front, defensive tackle-wise, there was really nothing. There was no push. There was no force. There was nothing. It was just all bad from the get-go, especially on the defensive tackle side. There was really nothing that really impressed me at all. Nobody in that rotation. There's just nothing to say. It's just unspeakable. There's no words to describe it on how bad the defensive tackles looked. When you have Max who's taking double, triple teams, chip blocks, guys, somebody has to get there, and nobody did. No push up the middle. Tyree Wilson's still coming back from that injury. But he looked better as the time went on. But somebody has to win those battles, guys. This is an offensive lineman. This is an offensive line group that gave up and was pressured by the Jets. I don't think they got better unless they found the fountain of youth or they found something. They drank Michael Jordan's secret stuff to have an amazing game in week 2. I don't think that's the case. I just think the defensive tackle rotation just rough, man. It was just rough. I did not like it. Again, I think at this point of the year, I'm not saying to hit the panic button, but what I am saying is I think it is time to see some Silvera in this rotation, because really, what else do you really have to lose at this point? you know, the rookie wasn't getting there. John Jenkins, who's a veteran, wasn't getting there. Jerry Tillery, Below Nichols, our starters were not getting there. Something has to change. Something within this organization has to change. It's just not working. You drafted him. You got to see what he has. And that brings up to my third point. Again, rookies being inactive again. Aidan O'Connell, Christopher Smith, Nesta J. Silvera. A lot of these guys were inactive again. And I don't really understand it. I get it. There's going to be some healthy scratches. There's going to be some, inactives and all that stuff. And, I do like it because, it just shows me that maybe we do have a little bit of depth. Doesn't mean that it's good depth, but it just means that maybe we're just trying to teach these rookies how to play. But after what I saw, there's some rookies that just need to be in immediately. Nesta J. Silvera, I'm willing. Christopher Smith, what he lacks in size, he shows in awareness and play recognition during preseason. Now, obviously, what you're going to get in August is what you see in August is not what you're going to see in September because obviously preseason is vanilla, basic offense, basic defense. But you have to see what you got. You didn't just draft a guy to not play him. That's not the point. Yes, it's good that your draft class is still intact, and that's going to be good. But if you don't see what they got, then how will we know if they ever play or not? And they'll get their shot eventually. But it's just one of those things where, again, I think, the rookies being inactive. Now, Trey Tucker was active and he did his thing. It's just, for me, I want to see more of these rookies play because I just want to see if – I'm not saying that they have to be Pro Bowlers, they have to be all pros, they have to be Hall of Famers. I just want to know if maybe with this draft class, maybe they can add to the depth. Maybe one of them could be a starter. It's killing me knowing the fact that they're not getting the playing time. And I don't know if it's just due to numbers or it's just due to who we're playing that week. But the last couple weeks with no interior pressure, I don't see why Nesta J. Silvera, and with how the safeties have been playing recently, I don't see why Nesta J. Silvera and Christopher Smith cannot be on that team. If you're going to make anybody inactive, Brandon Bolden, again, Hunter Renfrow, if you're not going to use them, I don't know. It's just very – I know there's a plan to it, and I know there's a method to this madness, like everybody says. But right now, I'm not seeing it. I'd rather just see what we got to see if there's some development, if there's something we can work with, or see what we got. It doesn't hurt to look. That's pretty much all I'm saying. So those were kind of my three negatives on this week. Obviously the run game has to improve. That's the core of our defense. That's the core of our offense. If the run game's not going, then we're not going to be as successful offensively as we thought. And there was a lot of things too in between. Jakobi Meyers being out. I hope Raider Nation understands why I was so excited when I did the first video, a couple videos back, on why I was so excited for Jakobi Meyers to be part of this team, because he's opening it up for a lot of others. And I think if Jakobi does come back, hopefully, from what Josh McDaniel says, he's headed in the right direction. Davante Adams is good to go. So hopefully they're ready to go, hopefully for the Steelers, because it's going to be all hands on deck. But, with every negative, there's always a positive. So let's get some positives out of the way. I know when you try to think of positives after a loss like this, it's very hard to think what could have possibly been positive about this team. Well, let's just try to find some, and I think there was a couple nuggets. The first one, Robert Spillane and Divine Diablo. Very, very well done. On a day that our defense looked bleak, Divine Diablo and Robert Spillane just looked like a sign of help. Like, man, they finally got this done. They got this under control. They made some nice tackles. They had a sack each. It's really nice. It's just really good to know that the linebackers are active and they're trying to do everything they can to stay active. That's the first positive I saw was um, Robert Spillane, Divine Diablo just playing their hearts out there on a game that they knew they were going to lose, but they were still playing their guts out. I think Robert Spillane ended up with like 14 tackles or something this game. Again, Divine Diablo had a sack. So, I mean, that's the first positive that I can see is that, man, I'm very glad that at least somebody stepped up defensively in this game that give us a little brighter hope. I guess the second nugget that I saw on the first drive is that Jimmy G and the Devontae Adams connection is kind of there. They're working on it. But after that touchdown pass, you have to feel like it's pretty good. Now, I will say, that was kind of a ill-advised throw at the end for Devontae or for Jimmy to throw to Devontae for all the wrong reasons. Obviously the hospital ball, as we like to call it, where he kind of just unfortunately that's where Devontae ended up getting that concussion. And it was no good. But, the first half, where Devontae, I mean, getting the touchdown, he's getting his receptions, which is all good and dandy. I like that. I really do enjoy seeing that. So that's really impressive in that end. So I guess that's the second good nugget. Like I said, with games like this, it's very hard to be positive, but you have to find the positive in something. And number three, I think if I was to say any last positive about this game, I would say that maybe this team understands now, like, hey, if this is what we're going to be, then this is what we have to do. And hopefully they learn something from this loss. And, Sunday, hopefully they bring that, they bring the energy to at least compete. I think that's what we're waiting for is when is this team? Because obviously we know this team is not meant to win the Super Bowl. Not this team, no. But at least we want to see them compete. That's what we want to see as Raider fans. And I can't think of a better way to compete than this Sunday against a team that has history behind it. If you want to say what it is, I would say some history behind this team. It is the Steelers. Sunday Night Football. It is our home opener in Vegas. So I guess the NFL kind of threw us a bone to put us on primetime television. So it could go one of two ways where we show that we are competing or maybe we're just not there yet. But against the Steelers, it's always fun because of the history between the Raiders and the Steelers dating back to the 70s and the 80s. And obviously, I actually have a comment here. My friend Gina on Instagram, who is a avid Steelers fan, she's excited. I know she's excited for this game. She always likes to, especially when she knows that they play my Raiders. They know she's very into it. So I know she'll be watching on Sunday. But when you look at these two teams, obviously, these two teams have a lot of questions that I think want to get answered. Obviously, for the Raiders was week one a fluke? Should they have beaten Denver to begin with? And for the Steelers is after that performance yesterday, can their offense get better and can their defense, can they bail out their defense? Because, yesterday watching Monday night, the defense for the Steelers was amazing. Yes. 2 defensive touchdowns. I think it was 7 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. The defense is what kept the Steelers alive in that game yesterday. But on the offensive side of the ball, there was no creativity. There was nothing to be liking about. And I think this is where I think this Sunday Night Football, it's going to be very interesting to see which team is going to step forward and which team looks like they're going to have more answers or more questions than answers, I guess, at the end of it. And I think this is what makes it so exciting is because whenever the Raiders and the Steelers kind of get together, something always weird happens. The last time the Raiders or the Steelers played the Raiders in Oakland, it was a slip field goal. When the Raiders played the Steelers at Pittsburgh, it was a Christmas day where the Raiders were winning for a majority of the game, and then the Steelers got a Christmas miracle, and they ended up winning the game. So something always weird happens between the Raiders and Steelers. It's just there's never a time where, regardless of records, regardless of how the season's going, regardless of anything, the Raiders and Steelers always have a fun game. And again, I think that just goes back to the history of them back from the 60s, 70s, 80s, just the whole time, where from the Immaculate Reception to Monday Night Footballs, something always weird happens. And I've been to enough Raider Steeler games where something always weird happens, whether it's the first play of the game or the last play of the game, where no team is really safe. No team really wins until it hits 0-0. And I know that sounds kind of cliche, but when watching the Raiders and Steelers play my whole life, it just seems like it's always that way. It's always that way. So I'm excited because I really do want to see if maybe the Pittsburgh offense can maybe just get a little bit more elevated, see if maybe they can get some creativity in there, because that Monday nighter, when the defense scores more than the offense, that's kind of a worrisome. You have to feel good, that, hey, you have a strong enough defense, but if the defense doesn't hold up, like you saw against teams like San Francisco, and you need the offense to hold up, then, there has to be some creativity. And for the Raiders, really what it comes down to is burn the tape of Buffalo. There's nothing to see there. There's nothing good there. And just go back to what you were. Take advantage of the Pittsburgh Steelers' weak spots, which is this offensive line, which is the passing game, which is kind of weird to say that because I think the Steelers have great wide receivers. It's just the offensive coordinator doesn't know how to really utilize them in a way, which is I find weird. I find a little weird. But I really do think that this game's going to take a lot. It's going to take all hands on deck for the Raiders to pull out a victory here. Obviously, we know what we're up against when it comes to the Steelers. On the defensive side, you have TJ Watt, who's, if not the best pass rusher in the AFC. I want to say the NFL yet, only because Micah Parsons is doing his thing there. But, there's an argument there that, Micah Parsons or TJ Watt can, surpass Micah Parsons from Dallas because he is one of the better ones. And then obviously on the opposite side of him is Antonio Highsmith, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Joey Porter Jr., who's having a good start to his rookie year. Yeah, was there maybe a little bit of holding on the last play yesterday? I would say yes, but at that point, I don't think the refs were going to call it either way. As blatant as it looked, I don't think they were going to call it. And then you look offensively, George Pickens, Najee Harris, Kenny Pickett, Pat Freiermuth. This is not going to be an easy game for the Raiders. This is not going to be an easy game. But it's like I've told my brother, we've won with less. And, we just have to play our game. And I think really what it comes down to, one, to beat a defense like the Pittsburgh Steelers, you have to establish the run. You have to. There is no other choice. You have to establish the run. Josh Jacobs and that offensive line have to get it going week 3. They have to get it going. It's going to make life easier for them if they get the running game going. There can be no more. Josh Jacobs has to hit the hole this week. They have to find a groove this week. Because if the Steelers have their way with them at the front, it's just going to be bad news everywhere. Number 2, we got to limit the turnovers. We really do. From fumbling to interceptions, we have to limit those. We cannot give the Steelers a shot. Short field, we can't do it. We can't do it. We have to limit their possessions. We got to limit their possessions. We have to kill the clock as much as we can. To win this game, strong running, kill the clock. That's what it's going to take. And number 3, really what it comes down to is our defense has to step up. this is a young offensive Pittsburgh Steeler offensive line. We have veterans on this team. We have players on this team that have been long enough to know that we should be able to take advantage of these guys. If we fail to get to Kenny Pickett in this offense, guys, it's going to be a long day. It's going to be a very long day. And again, I would like to say that Chandler Jones is going to be there. But I think he has his own issues. And just to go over it, basically what's happening is he has put up some very disturbing things on his Instagram page and stuff like that, saying some very disturbing things where authorities should probably look into it if that is the case. I don't want to get into it here because that's not my place and that's not anybody's business but theirs. But if Chandler Jones, well, let's stop there, because after a while he did say that he was hacked, and I don't know what's going on there. But after the accusations he made after the game, in regards to his family, especially his goddaughter or niece and everything like that, I think this is something that the authorities do have to look into, because it's one thing, it's never a joking matter when we're talking about these type of accusations, especially in today's world. It's never a joking matter. It shouldn't be a joking matter. If that was his coy to get on the field, because he hasn't played the last couple of weeks, and if that was his way of getting on the field, and him saying that he'll be quiet about it if he just plays, he's just as guilty as the people that he's accusing. And you just look it up, just social media, whatever. Go to Chandler Jones, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But if his accusations are real, this is something that the NFL federal investigation has to happen, because there's no in today's world, in any time, there's no place for that. There's no place for that. And again, it's not my place of business, but as a fan, and not just as a fan, but as a human, a decent human being that I like to believe that I am, there's no place for that type of stuff anywhere. So if everything he is saying is true, there has to be an investigation within the NFL, federal, anything they can, because it's just not right. It's not right for anybody at that point. So that's, for me, as far as Chandler Jones goes. I wish him the best. I know he's still with the Raiders, but I think right now football should be the last of his worries if what he's saying is true. Now, if everything he's saying is false and it comes back false, then he has to face the music. But if he's holding this back, and this is his coy to play on Sunday for everything to be brushed off the table, he is no better than the people that are doing the action itself. And I think you guys know where I'm going with it. So I think he's got more important issues than trying to get on the football field, if that is the case. But again, talking about the Steelers, it's going to be a great game. I'm excited because it's home opener. I've been waiting for home opener since the Ring Around the Rosie Kansas City game. And I know I have some family friends that are ready to go. I know Gina, if she's still with us, I know she's ready to go for Sunday Night Football. I know I'm ready to go because, it's who wouldn't want to? What else? What else in this world is better than a football game in Sin City, in Las Vegas, prime time? All eyes are on us. It's going to be exciting. It's just going to be an exciting time, and it's always fun, when the Steelers do come to town, because it's I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of people give Steeler fans a lot of bad rep. They're anything but that. They're actually pretty entertaining. They're very entertaining fans, and I always enjoy whenever whenever it is time for the Steelers and Raiders to play. I always enjoy those matchups because it's the entertaining aspect of it. You know, not the bickering, but I don't know what's the perfect word for it, but I guess the crap talking between both. And I love it, man. It's fun. Last time I went to a Raider Steeler game, it was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, there was a bunch of Steeler fans a couple of Steeler fans behind me. First half, kind of getting us pretty good, and then we ended up winning the game. But I'll tell you this: the Steeler fans are probably one of the coolest. They're probably one of the coolest fan bases because whether they win or lose, they're cool with it afterwards. Good game, we move on, and then that's pretty much the end of that. So it's always entertaining whenever the Steelers do come into town. I always enjoy them. I'll put it to you like this: I enjoy them more than other fan bases whenever they do come to visit. There's some fan bases where I can live without if they never come, but when it comes to the Steelers, I am always ready for the crap talking. I'm always ready to see how this goes, and I'm always ready for a good game. So just to recap, my key points in this week's game. The defense has to be active. They have to control the trenches. They have to attack a young offensive line, get in the backfield, make it a long day for Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, and Kenny Pickett. The more you do that, the more I think success you'll have. Number two, we got to limit the turnovers. We got to limit those. If you limit those, we kill the clock. Everything should be going our way. And number three, this is the week we have to establish the running game. If we don't, and with talks already about that, we were in talks with the Rams of adding Cam Akers to our team. I think that's going to be the hard part, where I think those talks are going to be more than just talks. So at the end of it, the running game has to get going with Josh Jacobs, with Samir White, with Amir Abdullah. Everybody's got to do their part. This is an all hands on deck game. Everybody has to do their part. Everybody on the field has to do their game. They have to be on their game, especially on Sunday Night Football. We do not want to get embarrassed. I don't mind losing, and I know that's a shitty way of looking at it. I don't mind losing because it happens. You win, you lose. If you're going to lose, at least lose competitively. But don't give them a reason to look at us and say, man, these are still the same Raiders after all these years. So again, establish the run, limit the turnovers, activate that defense, Graham, because your job is on the line. Your job's on the line. When we're already talking about nothing has changed and we brought in the guys for you, if this keeps going, Graham, I do not see you being part of the Raider organization for very long. So other than that, I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. I can't wait for my family to get here so we can go to Allegiant. I got friends, family coming over. It's going to be it's going to be so much fun, and I cannot wait. And hopefully, it's a good game. Hopefully, we can all leave with our heads up high, saying whether we win or lose, that hey, we played competitively. Of course, I want to win. I would love to give you guys my predictions, but that's not till tomorrow. That's not till tomorrow when me and Brandon, we come back on here on this page live again on Instagram Live or on Jack's Wild Sports Show, where, we're going to make our predictions for week 3. I can't believe I'm already saying that. It is week 3 of this NFL season. Season moves, man. Just a month ago, we were talking about preseason, what we liked. We're on to week 3. That's how fast the season goes. That's why I enjoy doing what I do, and I enjoy talking to you guys, interacting with you guys. So that's going to do it for today's show. But again, tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, me and Brandon, we are going to talk about we're going to make our predictions for week 3 of this upcoming up season, starting with the NFL Thursday night game between the New York Giants and the San Francisco 49ers. So until then, everybody, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please, please, please spread the word. Spread it to your friends, whether they're football fans, Raider fans. Doesn't matter. Just sports fans in general. Come on the show on YouTube Live. Jack's Wild Sports Show. Hit the little bell, hit the subscribe button, and on Instagram Live, All Sports Talk Podcast. Please spread the word so we can have more fun with this. We can interact with more. But until then, everybody, please have a wonderful night. Please be safe and take care of each other. Peace.